tuned into SEC Sunday Night, part of the Chief Sports Network.
Hit the lights. It's Sunday night. Welcome to SEC Sunday Night Live on the Chief Sports Network. I'm going to do a quick flip of my microphone here. Something happened. All right. We're proudly presented by Hewitt Damaduras Law, HDLawSC.com. Brad and Dean have you covered each and every week. Whether it's personal injury, an insurance claim, a dog bite. I saw an incredibly sad dog attack video today on Twitter. A dog attacking another dog, a dog attacking a person. If it happens to you, call Brad and Dean, okay? If you fall up the steps because you can't walk like Craig, call Brad and Dean, all right? If you need just a helping hand to talk to in the state of South Carolina, they are your guys. And I'll give an extra shout out here to Amanda, who really runs that office. And if you really need anything, you're going to go to Amanda first, and she's going to put you in touch with Brad and Dean. And you tell her that Rob and Craig sent you from SEC Sunday Night. It's HDLawSC.com. Oh, and Casey, too. Yes.
Hey, Amanda, can I get a hat and maybe a vest or a quarter zip, even though I don't live in South Carolina? Oh, are we not talking to Amanda? Is my microphone on?
Yeah, it's on. It's on.
Okay.
What's going on, boys?
What's
How
up,
are
bro?
we? How are we? We have not talked today as much as we normally talk. It's been a busy weekend on the Chief Sports Network with the combination of Gamecock Central and the Big Spur,
Woo.
Inside the Gamecocks, Chief, all moving over to the On3 network. Coming soon for all of you that are in the state of South Carolina, the fourquarterfriday.com rival site, which will cover high school sports in the state of South Carolina. I'm also the host of that show. And so got a chance to go on the late night Gamecock show tonight. And so we're just working it. We're working the mics, we're working the cameras, but there is so much happening in the world of the SEC. Casey, we jinxed them last week, my friend. We jinxed them. I asked the question, who's the best baseball team in the league? I said Mississippi State. You said Texas A&M. They both dropped their series this weekend, and with that, we'll go to the scores after I call on you, Mr. McMichael, with your hand up.
No, I'm just pointing to who the best team is in the SEC for baseball. How about them dogs?
You know
What's that coming down the track? Woo!
All right. Let me just work my way through these scores, and then we're going to look at it. Okay, Bama takes.
Yeah, what are the scores of the Georgia game?
They played
all three.
Missouri.
It doesn't
Georgia
matter.
takes all three
It doesn't
from
matter. I respect
Missouri.
all SEC teams, including the Fighting Maggie Johnsons.
Okay.
Unlike you two,
Well,
apparently.
Check your
Maggie.
sport. Check your sport. All right, Georgia takes all three from Missouri, and Bama does the same, sweeps Vanderbilt.
Did you say Georgia Tech?
No, I said Georgia takes all three from
I
Missouri.
thought you said Georgia Tech.
All right, here's where we need to hit the pause button because Kentucky took 2 of 3 from Tennessee, and that is one, boys, that I did not see coming. Arkansas, 2 of 3 over Ole Miss. Florida finishes it out today against Oklahoma, who we will talk about tonight in terms of football, but a couple of Oklahoma notes on the Diamond Sports. They dropped their series to Florida. Texas gets 2 of 3 from Mississippi State. LSU sweeps South Carolina in Baton Rouge, and Auburn, 2 of 3 from Texas A&M. We're very close, boys. We're very close. I can smell regionals, and they're right around the corner. But first, we've got to finish up this season, and we've got the SEC tournament coming up. But just overall, anything that stuck out, Casey, I can see you kind of nodding along. There were some interesting moments across the league this weekend. Anything that kind of sticks out to you as we get ready for some real fun when we talk about tournament baseball?
Probably under the radar, but the Fighting Nick Mangione's stepping up when they had to and beating Tennessee. I know for fighting for 11th and 12th in the conference, but how does the SEC do their tournament? Does everybody come, or is it the top 12?
Well, it's not the top 12 because there's 16 teams.
Right, but I mean, in the
that
past,
means
I know
everybody comes then, Casey.
everybody comes. Okay.
No, if I'm not mistaken, it's 14, I think, but I could be wrong about that.
Okay.
Don't hold me to
All
it.
right. Well, that's still all right. LSU wins 3 to kind of jump back up to the 14th spot, but yeah, I think it was a little surprising that Auburn took 2 of 3 from my adopted Texas A&M Aggies there. But again, it's baseball. But I see my thing with Georgia, and Craig, just mute this part. I think they're boom or bust, and I say that looking at their record at 38-11, and maybe they're not, but they have so much power, and they're getting 6 home runs a game. I mean,
completely agree.
about 3.
I can, but I have to I have to give a shout out to John Tweet Sports, who I will be invited over for bonfire and bourbon, unlike Rob, who's going to Buckhead for espresso martinis and clubbing at 3 a.m. Last night, John had a great thing where I will agree with you. They could be boom or bust, but in the SEC this year, they've been more boom. Georgia,
6 in a row.
Run rule is they've won 7 of 8 SEC series this year. That's pretty good. How many South Carolina won, Rob?
That's
not 7.
You're comparing a team that leads the league in home runs with a team that fired their coach mid-year. Compared to somebody else.
They also have 13 run rule wins this season, and they've won 6 in a row and are in first place. And if you're not, if I can quote the great Ricky Bobby, if you're not first, you're last. So I will take the boom of the dogs until the bats go south.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously worked, right? And for it's double elimination once you get in the NCAA tournament, so it's going to be hard to beat them twice, at least in a regional and a super regional, because they are so consistently hitting the long ball. But if they get to a 1-2 from somewhere out west, that no Dallas Baptist or UCLA or somebody that has a 1 and 2,
that's it.
That is lights out on a night, and they could be out as quick as they're number 1 in the SEC. I don't. Right. I'm not assuming that happens, but it can, because it's baseball and you just never know. And they've been consistently wonderful. I happen to root for a team that's been consistently not wonderful and consistently not getting the breaks. They seem to be, and I say breaks loosely, but they seem to be getting the breaks this season. And they're good. Please don't get me wrong. Please don't misconstrue what I'm saying. They're really good.
Yep. Well, I think it goes back to the age-old adage, whether we're baseball, softball, football, lacrosse, whatever it may be. Do you want a really good offense? Do you want a really good defense? How does that balance out? And you would hope that the bats could take care of it, especially if you're playing Dallas Baptist or the Little Sisters of the Poor, whoever that may be. Hopefully, they don't get knocked out, but it has been impressive to watch the dogs and see what they've got cooking.
And I know this, Rob, I know you'll probably bring this up in the coming weeks, but it is their ceiling, their floor should be Omaha at this rate. Georgia's floor should be Omaha.
Yeah, no. I agree with you there, and I agree with you on all points. The thing that scares me, no matter what the bats do, is what happens on a night when you don't have your pitching and somebody else does. That's the thing about Georgia, that it's not well rounded enough for me to not have a concern. That doesn't mean that it's going to happen. Like you said, they could roll through everything and just big bop their way on through it. But we have seen nights where they didn't. See the midweek a couple weeks ago against Georgia Tech.
Listen, you don't worry about the midweek. You just win your series on the weekends. As long as you take care of business on the weekends. This is what I've been told for the last month and a half. As long as you take care of the series on the weekends, you don't worry about a game that was blacked out, except when John was, live streaming it.
And you're right about that until you get to Omaha, where you're going to have to use that 4th, 5th, 6th pitcher that isn't your go-to guy, that isn't getting. I know they extended the College World Series so that you do tend to get a 1, 2, or 3. But there is times that 1 doesn't have it. So now you're throwing your 4. And you get deep into there, it stresses. Or a regional even. You drop a game in the regional, you go to that losers bracket. Now you're going to that kid that got
You're gonna have to.
blown up by Georgia Southern on a Tuesday night in North Augusta.
Yep.
Nice area, by the way.
Beautiful.
Phenomenal.
Rob took his Beamer there once.
I lived 20 minutes away from there for 3 years, and I sold my Beamer to some kids that lived in North Augusta, and they totaled it in the first month. So thanks for bringing that up, Craig.
Oh, good memories.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Him with the Travelers. He was a Traveler for a little while. Look him up, people. Look him up.
All right. So, the Texas-Mississippi State series, interesting series for me. As much as I was on Mississippi State last week, I think Texas has the ability to beat you week in and week out. Obviously, they just did it right there. I just don't know. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it has the magic. Like they don't have the it factor as much as they just have like the consistency. And to your point, I don't know when we get to postseason, I may lean back on somebody that's got the magic. Your team that you claimed last week, Texas A&M drops 2 or 3 to Auburn. Auburn's a team that we haven't talked a whole lot about, but they're pretty good, and it's not something that we I think need to take lightly when in a couple of weeks when we preview what this postseason tournament is going to look like.
They're host the regional good, I think.
Oh yeah, I kind of do too. They're yeah.
And now we got to talk about them more. Gross.
Yeah, we do. We do have to talk about them. I want to highlight here for a couple of minutes before we get to Genius. I have a handful of softball highlights that I think we need to look at as well. As we know, we've mentioned several times, this will really heat up when we get into the tournament there as well. The SEC tournament in softball is this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay, so you have 3 first-round games on Tuesday. And then you will get into the next few rounds there the following days. Okay, so I'll just read it off to you here so that you know what you got on Tuesday so that everybody is aware. Missouri and Auburn at 1:00, Mississippi State and Kentucky at 3:30, and South Carolina and Ole Miss will follow that up. Okay, then second round. For second day games, LSU and Georgia's already set. That's the nightcap at 7:30. Texas A&M awaits the winner of Missouri and Auburn. Arkansas awaits the winner of Mississippi State, Kentucky. Tennessee awaits the winner of South Carolina and Ole Miss. Okay, and then your top 4 seeds, Oklahoma, Alabama, Florida, and Texas, will be waiting on Thursday to kind of play it out. But Oklahoma won the regular season this weekend, so we can wrap that up. I said earlier that we had some Oklahoma notes, even though we're talking Oklahoma football tonight. We will obviously tip our caps to the most dominant program in softball, in Patty Gasso, and the Oklahoma Sooner softball team. So they wrapped that up. They won doubleheader against A&M, who's a top 15 team. LSU beat Auburn 25-0 this weekend, which is the most runs scored by an SEC team in a conference game ever. 25-0.
Okay, great.
Crazy. 3-1 walk-off for Ole Miss to upset number 16 Mississippi State. And then Missouri gets one over number 9 Tennessee for the first time since 2021. I have to look this girl's name up. Are y'all familiar with the Tennessee pitcher? Have we talked about that on here?
No, I don't think we have.
Casey, are you?
I'm not familiar. No.
Carlin Pickens.
Oh yes,
Carlin Pickens. She throws 80. Okay,
that's right.
That's like 100, isn't it? Isn't it like 100?
Yeah,
120.
110. I think was the number that I was given. Yeah,
we'll meet in the middle.
That's gas, guys. That is crazy.
Could you touch that, Rob? If you were standing in the plate?
No. I'm not even going to pretend. Not a chance.
I want to talk to Shannon Terry now, since we're all connected, and I want to put you up to bat against Miss Pickens, and I want to just put that on the live stream on the Twitter. I want to see you do it.
Yeah, I'm not touching it. I'll do it. I'll do it because the views might be there, but I can't.
Yeah, you'd look absolutely silly.
Yeah,
kind of like
they could take Bonds, and he would look dumb.
Yeah, you're right.
I remember Jenny Finch did that back when she was pitching for Team USA. she came and just started throwing smoke against some of the MLB guys, and they were not touching anything. Rob, do you remember Jenny Finch, or do we have to?
I do actually.
Okay, good. I wasn't
All right.
sure.
Hey, it's 8:15. Can we hit an early break here, or is everybody okay with that? Let's hit an early break here on SEC Sunday night. When we come back, it just means more. Genius.
At TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, we believe true health and peak performance start with personalized care. Whether you're an athlete recovering from injury or just chasing your next personal best, we're here to guide your journey. With expert coaching, hands-on therapy, and transparent cash-based pricing, you get the care you need without the insurance red tape. One client drove 100 miles just to see us and said it was worth every mile. Contact us at trifitperformance.com or 803-353-5619. TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, where recovery meets results.
When playing sports, you want a coach that will fight for you. At Hewitt Diamaduros Law Firm, we've got your back. Whether it's personal injury, insurance disputes, negligence, or wrongful death, our team delivers exceptional legal services that makes meaningful difference in the lives of the individuals and families we work for. Visit hdlawsc.com. hdlawsc.com. Hewitt Diamaduros, we're on your team.
This is SEC Sunday night on the Chief Sports Network.
Back to SEC Sunday Night Live on the Chief Sports Network, proudly presented by Hewitt Diamaduros Law, hdlawsc.com. And we're here with our good friend Casey Cregan, the award-winning producer of the Message Board Genius podcast. And he's going to tickle our ears as he always does, ladies and gentlemen. Can we just line up? You know, I'm proud of you, Casey, because you give us that beautiful shot of that window behind you. Sometimes we get your ceiling fan when you could give us the trophy case, and your humility shines because you're not showing us the just stack of medals and trophies and awards that you have accumulated for those sultry tones that you're about to put into that microphone.
Wow. Do you need me to leave? Do you two just need some like a personal space here or something?
Stay humble, son. Stay humble. That's what my dad always told me.
Hang on, I have a question for Rob.
Here we go.
I saw you earlier. Where's the cockaboose at?
Well,
bring it back.
No, we don't do that on this show, Craig.
Listen, I'm biased as hell. Like, I've got Georgia here. I've got Mississippi State. Casey's got Mississippi. Go ahead, be biased. It's okay.
Exactly. One of us has to be level-headed around here. And
that's
so
not me.
Try to do exactly.
Not it.
I'm just big-headed.
That's what it is. Well, I would be too with all those awards. All right. Let's jump into the boards here, and I'll try to get them in the right order because I know that there's one specifically we need to say for the end.
There's an order?
Perfect. Let's begin.
Rob picked him this week, by the way, ladies.
All right. From our friends at Tiger Rant, Nicholas Tiger says, I'm going climb the Intimidator. I'm not coming down until LSU wins a SEC game and will stay up there all off season if they don't win another SEC game this season. It's a lot to unpack there.
Like grammar?
That was notable. Yes.
I like that his name is Nicholas Tiger. As a father of young children, the first thought in my head is Daniel Tiger, and it makes me wonder if this guy is a relative.
Do you think he's built an ocean in his front room?
I don't know. Perhaps he's just been over to swim in Daniel's.
All right.
When you get mad and want to roar, just count to 4. Something like that.
We are all dads with young kids. You
can somebody tell the LSU fans when you get mad and want to roar, count to 4? Can we give that to them? Somebody get Joy on the line.
What is the Intimidator?
I don't.
I think it's Talladega. No, it's not Talladega.
Talladega's something else.
I'm lost on this one.
I was thinking like Dale Earnhardt, but I'm like, he's not been around for a while.
I was thinking NASCAR, like one of the turns being so banked.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It is a Dale Earnhardt reference, but I'm not sure it is in this context. There is a roller coaster at Carowinds on the South Carolina North Carolina border called the Intimidator, which is a Dale Earnhardt themed roller coaster. It would be pretty high, but I don't think that's what this guy's talking about. I don't have a clue, but he's going to climb it. MBG says write it down, boys.
It's LSU unveils another updated Intimidator sign at Alex Box with 8th national championship. So I guess it's the sign out there in the outfield that he's.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I just chat GPT'd it, and that's what they said. Very good.
What is this? I don't know what this one is.
Oh my goodness!
I'm sorry, Casey.
MBG says, "Wait, so people still write checks at the grocery store?" Our friend Huff Tex is responding to a comment from Roteron 9116, who says, does anyone still write checks as their primary personal method of payment? Just curious if it's still a thing or just more noticeable because of how much it slows down the checkout line when someone does it in the modern era of tap to pay, etc. So then Huff Text says, the woman in front of me at HEB last week didn't begin filling out check until the entire basket and a half, who does that, was rung up, then filled out the check register. This lady wasn't 70. She was on the low side of 45. I honestly was looking for the hidden camera. I was sure I was being pranked, except I saw the slightly embarrassed, completely overwhelmed reaction of her boyfriend/husband with her. I am now content it was just a unicorn, not something I'll deal with regularly. Cashier said he sees that less than 5 times per week, which based on HEB's volume means almost none. So we still writing checks, boys?
I can't remember the last time I actually wrote a check.
What's a check?
Yeah, that would be fair. That would be fair. My bigger question is, how old are you if you're on the low side of 45? What does that even mean? Are you 47? Like what?
Why don't you tell us? Aren't you on the low side of 45?
Hey, I technically am. I'll be 43 in next week, something like that.
That's probably about right then.
It's old.
Are you writing checks?
I am not, even at work. And
I don't even
I'm an
have
athletic
checks.
director. Someone's cutting checks, but no, I am not physically writing a check whenever we go out to the store. I remember my mom doing that, like when we were little.
I told my bank not to send me checks. It's a waste.
And they didn't?
No, they didn't. They didn't give them to me. I opted out.
Nice. I didn't know you
The
could
only
do
reason
that.
I used to have checks was so I would know my account and routing number when I had to write it on things. But
I Google the account, the routing number.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
just go on
Google
the
my
app.
account number.
Just go on the
Yeah,
bank.
hopefully you can't find that.
You just go on I can just go on the bank app though, and you can search it.
Yeah.
And it'll pull it right up.
What was your account number again, Rob?
I'm
Yeah.
somewhere in
Funny.
between though. I'm in between check and tap. Like I've told everybody that I'm at the age now that technology has officially passed me. Like the tap thing today, for example, I was paying for something. We went to ice skating with my son, and it was tap, and I was on the screen because 90% of the things you just throw up on the screen and it beeps at you. This was like above it and behind it, and I'm like, can you just do it for me, young sir behind the counter?
I like
use
it
my
better on
phone
my
pretty much.
iPhone. I like
Yeah.
to
I don't understand. I got to touch something on my phone. Yeah, that's well beyond me. The tap I'm just starting to get.
Yeah, I'm pretty much
Don't get
exclusively
old.
a phone payment person. Yeah.
Man, that's so convenient.
Yeah, you don't have to have anything else. It's going to get worse.
Oh yeah. Like,
Just in
what's
case you're
next?
wondering.
Why did you pick that board, Rob?
We all know I don't pick them, as this one is outside of the conference.
MBG says this Texas Tech fan thinks that the NCAA may have already ruled that Brendan Sorsby is eligible to play. The big if from Math Raider 91. If the NCAA and Cincy knew of the gambling before the 2025 season, then they have already, by default, ruled him eligible to play. 1, they did not stop his eligibility at Cincy. 2, they did not block his transfer. Because of this, Tech wins in court versus NCAA. Sorsby may have lucked into a slow and indecisive NCAA, which by decision already done have granted him eligibility no matter what they want / say now. What they say now, boys. I don't even know
I
what this
saw
thing
something
says.
where like Sorsby may go in the supplemental draft now.
Yeah, that's what I
I
saw.
just
too.
like what is the play for him? Like, okay, like had an issue, did whatever, was betting on balls and strikes, is in rehab now. Not great what happened, but I think this is probably pretty common, especially with as prevalent as these betting apps are now. Is he going to play another down at Texas Tech? Is he going to even play in the NFL?
I feel like it is important for us to address this story and this topic. The board,
That's why I picked it, Rob. I wasn't trying to just go outside the conference. I was trying to do something good for the fans in college football.
Oh,
Such a
gotcha.
giver.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Way to admit that
I
you're the board picker.
I love too much is
Baited-
what it
I
is.
just baited that one up and you stepped right in it. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, I will steal from my good friend JC Sherbert, owner of the Big Spur, now with the On3 network. When I say this kid cannot complete his passes in quality competition. If you look at him against Power 4 competition last year, he was right around 50% completion percentage. So the idea that he's going to, maybe he goes in supplemental drafts, but do we see him excelling at the next level? I have questions about him excelling at Texas Tech if he was going to hit the field. So, this is where I get into the transfer portal is relative every year. And this is the big argument that I made during the offseason about how we need to pump the brakes about how good this player or that player is because they got a quote unquote transfer portal ranking. We've said this about Sam Levitt. Two of the biggest names in the portal were Sorsby and Josh Hoover. And to, again, use JC's analysis here, which I think is great. And we've said everything we need to say about Sam Levitt. You got injury questions. We haven't seen him do it in quite some time. You have SEC defenses versus what he had before in the Big 12 defenses. But with Sorsby, there's a completion percentage issue. With Hoover, there's a major turnover issue, which his former head coach called out about him. So you have to kind of look at the portal and go, it's all relative from year to year. And I think Texas Tech is going to put has put a lot of eggs in this basket, and their fans have a little bit of a mixed reaction. But I just wonder, who else is in that quarterback room? Well, obviously we don't cover the Big 12, so I'm not going to claim to know who's deep in
their backup is hurt his leg, and he will start throwing in 10 days. I saw that this week because my Twitter feed goes throughout college football, including the SEC. But another crazy status I saw about Sorsby, he just never won a game in November. Well, you're talking about like the competition he has.
Yeah.
It's the same thing I feel about with like Sam Levitt. Was it Sam Levitt? Was it Cam Scadaboo 2 years ago at Arizona State? I don't know about these guys, and I agree with you. Like it's it's a gamble. I do wonder, is Sorsby going to get paid from Mr. Campbell, or are there some language in those contracts to make sure that they get out of that deal?
Absolutely. I completely agree. And that needs to start being in contracts for what it's worth. Casey?
MBG says, all right, there are two coaches filling the gap left by Nick Saban, Ryan Day and Mike Elko, #Gig'em. We go to TexAgs. Our friend second to none says law of the quad. Coach Elko is believed to be one of the best player developers in college football. This year's draft confirmed Mike Elko is able to find and develop talent. The Saban vacancy of developing NFL talent has two coaches filling the gap, Ryan Day and Mike Elko. We could be on the cusp of watching one of the best coaches A&M has ever had.
All right, let me go
the next one.
Let me go first because I'm going to say everything Craig wants to say, and I'm going to regurgitate what he said last week because this is where his point supremely applies. If you have all that talent and you don't do a whole lot with it, I'm not sure what that says about you as a coach. I'm not throwing a shot at Mike Elko, but what I am saying, What I am saying is, yeah, he had a lot of talent last year, but we look back on that schedule. Let's just call it what it is. They got the spot in the playoff that they had because of the dice roll of who you played in the SEC. Tennessee benefited in the same way the year prior, and so until we see college football playoff expansion, which we will probably sooner rather than later, you're going to have this SEC team. It appears year in and year out that whoever lucks out with the lighter schedule is going to get some run for the playoff. And there's no way to know that. I'm not faulting the league office, because if we'd have looked at teams last year, who did A&M have on that schedule? Craig and I were both high on Auburn. Everybody was high on South Carolina. You can look at the schedule and say, oh, it was going to be a lot more difficult than it was, and then it wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't know until we actually get these teams on the field. It's impossible. We predict schedules every week. I'm not trying to undercut us, but it's impossible to know who it is, like who's really good on the schedule. That's why this is talking season, and we'll pay the bills when it comes to actually putting the guys on the field at the end of the day. This is comical to me.
I also wonder if the SEC going to the 9-game schedule will help balance that out, getting one extra game, because one of the things that I have noticed as we've been going through all of the previews, it does seem like there's one more big game in there. So we'll see. Elko, again, did a nice job. Day has done a nice job. But at some point, you got to win and not be down 31-3 at halftime.
I think that
at home.
I think that the 9-game schedule hurts it. I think it may help balance it out in terms of
but it'll balance, because you're going to get one more team. It's one less team you're able to duck, though, on that.
I agree from that standpoint. I think it's going to hurt the league overall, though. I think that Greg Sankey got punched in the mouth on that deal and should have never gone for it. And I'll go back to my 8-game stance. There was no reason to make that move, and nobody's benefiting from it in the SEC. You're actually you're going to be worse off, because there's going to be more. To your point, right there, you're going to cannibalize even more, because there's one more opportunity to balance it out. That's exactly what's going to happen. You're right.
May preseason rankings save us.
All right. Final one here with the most important question of the night.
All right. From MBG says, this may very well be the worst post of the year.
Thanks, Auburn.
From Auburn Sports, Baked Ram says, best diet soda. For me, it's 1 Pepsi Zero, 2 Sprite Zero, 3 Diet Dr. Pepper. Coke Zero and Diet Coke are disgusting. Deliberate below. Now, MBG is a known Diet Coke connoisseur, if that's such a thing. So I think that's why he said this may very well be the worst post of the year.
How, if your name is Baked Ram, do you not have Diet Mountain Dew to go with your Flaming Hot Cheetos?
Okay. I'm going to make my arguments for Diet Dr. Pepper. And that also coincides with college football, because Dr. Pepper is such a large sponsor of the game. So I'm just gonna be the corporate stooge here and say it. But no, seriously, that's the one that I like the best if I have to go with a diet soda. And I am a Pepsi guy. However, if we're doing zeros, so take the diet drinks out and we're just gonna go straight zeros, I'll take.
That's not the question, Rob.
I know that. I know that, and I already answered the question.
We take liberties with our questions on our show, so we'll let Rob take.
I answered the question with Diet Dr. Pepper is the one. But if I set the diet ones aside and just look at the zeros, I will take Coke Zero over Pepsi Zero. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yes, because Pepsi is trash.
But if I'm going regular drinks, Pepsi all day. Wild cherry, to be specific.
See, I'm going to go with the fridge cigarette here. Shout out to my homeboy, MBG. Give me a Diet Coke all day long. And if we're doing zeros, I'm not doing zeros. I'm doing regular Coke, and I'm going to do cherry Coke.
Yeah, I don't do diet anything, so
no.
I go mug root beer and wild cherry Pepsi.
Did you see that? There was another one on Twitter today. It was what is the best root beer? Is it Mug?
It is Mug,
Barks.
and there's no second. And you can't really find Mug.
Yeah. Like, what about A&W? Is A&W down there in South Carolina?
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
It's
It's
all
got
right.
that vanilla-y taste, but Barks is just straight up like punch you in the mouth root beer. I don't
Yeah.
eat that in my root beer.
If you ever, do you guys have the NW drive-ins down there? Those are
We don't.
elite. You get the foot-long coney, you get the curly fries,
We don't
you
have
get a
that.
nice
Craig.
cold root beer. Yeah, well,
We haven't-
you know
we
what? You're
haven't-
missing out.
We have an
I don't have an
A&W
HD Law Head either. Amber,
We
where
have-
are you at?
We have A&W Long John Silver's combo fast food
Yeah,
restaurant.
mashups. That's right.
My Grandma Dot, God rest her soul. She's a
Rest in
saint.
peace, Grandma.
Rest in peace. She used to call Long John Silver's Old One Eyes. Do you want to go to Old One Eyes for dinner? I don't.
I feel like
The
they've
best.
taken. I feel like they've taken that that pirate off. Perhaps
I feel like
but
that's my next step after technology is saying things like that to my kid.
That's the best. Like Old One Eyes. She used to call. Oh, I love that. Old One Eyes. Shout out to you, Grandma Dot. Love you.
that's it. All right, Casey, we appreciate you being here with us.
Thanks, boys.
We will be
Have a great
right
show.
back on SEC Sunday night with Travis Davidson to talk about Oklahoma football after the break.
When playing sports, you want a coach that will fight for you. At Hewitt Diamaduros Law Firm, we've got your back. Whether it's personal injury, insurance disputes, negligence, or wrongful death, our team delivers exceptional legal services that makes meaningful difference in the lives of the individuals and families we work for. Visit hdlawsc.com. hdlawsc.com. Hewitt Diamaduros, we're on your team.
Oh man, the building is on fire.
Emergencies and accidents happen. When you're in the middle of a fire or water event, all you want is for things to return to normal as soon as possible. Resto Pros of the Midlands is with you, guiding you through the process and working with you to get your home or office back in working order. They'll answer your questions, discuss procedures, and can act as your advocate when it comes to processing your insurance claim. Resto Pros Midlands SC.com. Open 24/7 when you need them. Quality that is guaranteed.
At TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, we believe true health and peak performance start with personalized care. Whether you're an athlete, recovering from injury, or just chasing your next personal best, we're here to guide your journey. With expert coaching, hands-on therapy, and transparent cash-based pricing, you get the care you need without the insurance red tape. One client drove 100 miles just to see us and said it was worth every mile. Contact us at trifitperformance.com or 803-353-5619. TriFit Physical Therapy and Performance, where recovery meets results.
Yo, what's up?
Baby, let's go.
This is SEC Sunday night, part of the Chief Sports Network.
Welcome back to SEC Sunday Night Live on the Chief Sports Network, proudly presented by Hewitt Diamaduros Law. And we are here with our friend Travis Davidson, who does just about everything. Vice President of Team Sports Consulting Group, radio host with KREF. He's on OU Insider. You name it, he's doing it. And we want to. We've already talked about Diamond Sports, Travis. This is a football discussion at this point, but I'll stay away from the baseball series this weekend. But a hat tip to your to the softball team closing up the regular season there and getting it done to win the SEC regular season title as we kind of move into the SEC tournament. So how's it going? I know that you've been busy. You've been on the road. Thanks for being here with us as busy as your schedule is.
No, I appreciate you having me on. I was in Norman for the baseball game. Made it back to Tulsa a little earlier than I thought, but 8-run innings will do that. So anyways, softball wraps up their second straight SEC regular season championship. I had to poke fun at my Tennessee friends a little bit. Tennessee, when they beat Oklahoma last year, said, "Welcome to the SEC," in their caption. Oklahoma's gone on to win the SEC twice since that tweet, and Tennessee has not won it yet. So, anyways, like to have a little fun with the Diamond Sports. Always fun being an OU softball fan, of course. But, yeah, excited for football season to get here. We always talk about the dog days of summer and recruiting, and Oklahoma's already got, I think, 20 commits, something like that, in the 2027 class. So I might just Rip Van Winkle this thing and wake me up when August ends.
Yeah, it's the thing that moves the needle, Travis, when we talk about football. And this season is unlike the past few because we did not have that spring portal window, which means we've kind of, on the positive side, had rosters locked in place for a little bit of time. On the negative side, it's given us more time to kind of sit and twiddle our thumbs with the little bit of info that comes out of spring ball. So let's kind of dive in first and foremost and talk about the coaching staff there in Norman. Obviously, we know what Brent Venables brings to the table, and you also are going to have a little bit of consistency now on the offensive side with a year under your belt. But as you look across this staff, anything notable that the general SEC fan maybe would not be paying attention to? I'll tee you up here to look at some of these position coaches. Who is it that is the rising star, or any changes that we need to note?
Well, the big splash, of course, was Jason Witten coming on board, the eventual Hall of Fame tight end. Obviously he knows a lot about the position. He's won a couple state titles down there coaching Liberty Christian in the Argyle, Texas area. It's not bad to recruit using Jason Witten. Obviously, he lands Seneca Driver, the number one tight end in the country out of Kentucky, as his kind of first commit. He goes and gets Hayden Hansen out of the portal, Jack Van Dorselaer, Rocky Beers, those guys, completely remakes that room. But recruiting in the future, not only with, a Hall of Fame tight end, a household name, but how much Oklahoma recruits that Dallas metro, especially North Texas, Northeast Texas. I mean, the guy was coaching in Argyle, knows that area, and it's filled with Dallas Cowboys fans. So DeMarco Murray, we obviously had the benefit of having a former Cowboy who was also a former Sooner, of course, recruiting running backs to Oklahoma. But obviously he's off to the Chiefs, and now we've got Dylan McCullough with that position, right? Obviously you saw his Notre Dame guys get drafted. He was at Notre Dame coaching Jeremiah Love. Then he went to the Raiders to coach Aston Janty. And what's crazy is, we expect the running back position to be much better this year, the run game in general to be better. But both of Dylan McCullough's sons played at OU, and both ended up transferring out, right? You have Deshaun McCullough and then Day McCullough. And it just speaks to what Brent Venables can do from a relationship standpoint. Part of the reason he's such a good recruiter. How many parents would see both of their kids transfer out of a program and then go take a job with that program, right? There's so many bridges that are burned, and Brent Venables just isn't that guy. It didn't work out for Dylan's kids, but he's happy to be there. And he's a proven guy, DeMarco, obviously great running back, one of the best in Oklahoma history, but he hadn't really coached all that much, right? He coached Arizona running backs, came to Oklahoma. Dylan McCullough, just as a matter of fact, has a better coaching resume than DeMarco Murray does. Now, you turn that around, you've obviously got the new guy in Jason Witten, but it would be hard for that room not to improve. It felt like we opted out of using tight ends for the last couple of years under Joe John Finley. Obviously, you get Jaron Canick, who puts up all SEC numbers, but really he's a receiving guy, right? He's a linebacker, converted linebacker. The Tennessee Titans take him in the 7th round. It's kind of a hybrid fullback type situation. But, the tight end room completely changed, obviously, with a couple SEC transfers. Jason Witten, Hayden Hansen even came and said in media sessions, "I'm here to fix the run game." So that's music to Oklahoma fans' ears as far as the offensive side of the ball goes.
That was going to be one of my big questions. Is you looked at last year, you had Jade Knott coming in from Cal. He was the real deal out there, and as you said, it felt like once Mateer went out that first time, that running game really sort of disappeared. Is it going to be more Mateer running it, where does that run game look to improve it? Who are those names we should be looking at? We talked a little bit about the coaches and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's interesting because Jaden Ott came in, ballyhooed recruit, all this, and just never saw his way onto the field. Internally, the rumors were, well, that was Jim Nagy's first big splash as GM, but DeMarco didn't want him, so DeMarco put him in the doghouse. But that can't be the case now because Jaden Ott just got signed as an undrafted free agent by DeMarco Murray and the Kansas City Chiefs. So doesn't make any sense. Lots of questions around Norman as to what actually went down with the Jaden Ott experience. But I do think Nagy found some redemption in that once he was signed as a UDFA. But the names to know, obviously, Xavier Robinson, local kid, but he's big kid, 230 pounds. He showed the speed. He reached 22.4 miles an hour 2 years ago at Bama. Dealt with some injuries, but he is a thumper for sure. Torrey Blaylock was a freshman last year who really showed out. I believe he led the team in rushing, and just he's got the speed, he's got the power, he's a sprinter. His dad's a big trainer down there in Texas, speed trainer. And then you've got a couple of freshmen. DeZephan Walker, who's 5'10", 210, something like that, just built up real nice. And then Jonathan Hatton Jr., who Oklahoma flipped from Texas A&M late, who was one of the top-ranked running backs in the cycle. That's another big kid. I think he's around 6'1", 220, something like that. Just built really well. But Lloyd Avant is a guy that I'm calling him the anti-Ott. Ott, big story, guys like you that cover a lot of teams. You guys, Jaden Ott, right? You hear the top headlines and whatnot. Well, ballyhooed, but didn't do anything. Lloyd Avant was a guy who started his career at Tulsa. He does kick return. He's running back, all that kind of stuff. Goes out to Colorado State, kind of a do-everything back. And he comes into Oklahoma as kind of the guy under the radar, right? Nobody really knows. He wouldn't be one of the top 2 or 3 names you'd mention when talking in the running back room. It wasn't one of the top 2 or 3 names I just mentioned to you. It was 5th, right? Yeah. So I think he's going to have an impact on this team in the spring game, which, again, thank goodness the spring portal's gone now. We can have spring games back, unless you're Texas, I guess. But with that, we get to see him, and he's running physical. He's making dudes miss. He's falling forward. Like what I see out of that guy, I think Oklahoma's running game is going to change dramatically. I do think that Mateer's going to run the ball a lot because it's the +1 running game. It is a huge advantage. There's a reason the quarterback run game is so effective at every level of football. You just can't account for it. But I don't think it's going to be as necessary. It's not going to be a situation where it's 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, who's calling their own number, right? Yep. So I think that's going to help with his health longer term. A lot of people know about the thumb, but he was dealing with a knee issue all year. And that's better. The thumb's obviously better now after that surgery. He's had time to heal. So I expect to see a better John Mateer, kind of that we saw at the beginning of the season pre-injury. And then I think the run game is gonna be leaps and bounds better than it was a lot. Of course, running backs, we returned 4 of 5 starters and grabbed Arkansas's right tackle to plug him in there. And then obviously the tight end position. I think it's all going to be better on offense because of that run game.
That was really going to be the main focal point, and I'm glad you said all that because it lets us kind of look at the personnel in general. But the biggest question mark for me in the offseason is exactly what you just explained. Can McCullough come in and provide a little more balance and get some of these backs to produce at the level that you're going to see Arbuckle kind of call this thing where it's not just Mateer running the ball? Because if they don't, the probability of his health, although it is good right now, being in jeopardy mid-season again is really what sticks in my head. If you're going to go out there and take hits, especially at his size, there's going to be some wear and tear. We talk about that typically with running backs. SEC teams can't make it through the season with just a handful of running backs. That's a highly risky move to go into the season with only 3 or 4 because you're probably going to lose 1, maybe 2, and some worst cases more than that. So if you have a quarterback that's going to have running back numbers in terms of number of carries, then it raises the level of concern for me no matter how healthy they are going into the season. I'll flip it to the other side of the ball, though, as we talk personnel. You mentioned a lot of the offensive guys. R. Mason Thomas is out to the NFL draft, and Brent Venables has a reputation of being able to scheme things up and get it going. And there's, he also has the ability to really identify talent, but there's something to be said always about replacing guys. And Thomas isn't the only guy there, but obviously the big name that you kind of think about coming off the edge. And he was in and out a little bit last season. When you look at the personnel on the defensive side of the ball, who are we looking for as SEC football fans? Maybe some returning guys, but also we know in this day and age, you have guys that came back that we don't know about yet, unless you're an OU fan or an insider. You have portal additions, you have true freshmen. So give us the rundown, Travis. What are we looking at on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up R. Mason Thomas because, to your point, you said he was in and out of lineup. He missed half of the SEC games, and he still made first-team All-SEC. Like, that shows you how impactful he was when he was there. Well, then he's out. Oklahoma still has the best-rated defensive line in the entire SEC, right? A lot of that has to do with a guy by the name of Taylor Wine. And I think he had 7 sacks last year, something like that. He was a guy that came in, obviously a highly rotational piece when R. Mason Thomas was in, but, almost didn't miss a beat. He's forcing fumbles. He had an interception, big hits. The Alabama game probably was his most notable, but you've got him on that side. And then you're going to have a baby PJ Adebawore, who was former 5-star end prospect, outside linebacker, edge rusher prospect. Danny Okoye, old homeschool kid out of here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Absolute freak. Miami wanted him bad. Texas wanted him bad. He was a 4-star. Ended up at Oklahoma, and he is an absolute freak. He was one of these guys that a deadlift like 800 pounds and then do a standing backflip at like 230 pounds of just 5% body fat. Just a crazy dude, and he put on a ton of good muscle, good weight. He tore it up at the spring game. I know, spring game, throw it out. It's a scrimmage. But his body looks completely different. He's going to be on the field a ton. And then really, especially with Todd Bates, you got to focus on the interior, right? The things he's been able to do, obviously, Alabama alum, but Clemson, he always had one of the best defensive lines, putting guys in the first round every year, it felt like. Well, this year, Jaden Jackson and David Stone are your two kind of household names. David Stone, the former 5-star out of IMG, but originally from Oklahoma. And then his teammate at IMG, Jaden Jackson, was a freshman All-American. So David Stone's kind of the more prototypical size, speed, the 5-star type frame to go there. And a lot of the way too early 2027 rankings that are coming out now that the draft is over have him as one of the top defensive tackles taken off the board just after his junior year. So a lot of talent on the interior. You've got guys like Trent Wilson that's going to get a lot of time. You've got a guy, Nigel Smith, that's going to get a lot of time. So you've got other guys that are going to be kind of in that rotation. But with Oklahoma, defense is always going to be good under Brent Venables. And they got even better when they went and got Cole Sullivan from Michigan, a guy that Michigan really, really, really wanted to keep, but he just wasn't sure, right? All the Sharon Moore stuff going down. He doesn't know what's going on. He ends up coming to Oklahoma. And then very famously, Owen Heineke wins his case against the NCAA, and he is returning to Oklahoma to start alongside Kip Lewis, who they were able to retain from the NFL draft. So linebackers under Brent Venables, always good anyways, but the addition of Cole Sullivan and the retention of Owen Heineke and Kip Lewis will have that room cooking.
Shout out to my guy, Owen Heineke, who started his career at the Ohio State, not playing football, but lacrosse. Travis, I cover college lacrosse for Inside the Cross. So
I got
you.
Big
lacrosse guy, big Heineke guy. So that's where I was going next. So like, I think if we're looking at big picture, right? We've got year 2 of Arbuckle. We've got year 2 of Mateer. Obviously, BV is going to have the defense ready. Last year was nice. We made the playoff. That was good. But it definitely wasn't the way that we wanted to end, where we wanted to go. Is the next logical step competing then for the SEC, making it to a quarterfinal or semifinal? What does that expectation look like now in like Norman?
Yeah, it'll be interesting, right? Because to your point, season doesn't end how you want it to. You blow a 17-point lead at a home playoff game with 50 Cent coming out before the fourth quarter, but it's a good first step, right? A 10-win with that schedule that we had, Michigan in the non-con, And then, the gauntlet, obviously Missouri and LSU weren't what everybody thought they might be, but still a heck of a year. Wins at Alabama and at Tennessee at night. A lot of people didn't expect that when Oklahoma started their year. So a successful year when you make the playoff, it means you're competing for a national championship, right? The teams that make the playoff, at least until this thing goes to 64 teams or whatever, like if you make the playoff in this version, you are by definition competing for a national championship. Yep. So, with this schedule this year, very tough, obviously, at Michigan, at Georgia. Obviously, you've got Texas and Dallas. Those are 3 of your first 5 games. So, you got to hit the ground running. It's a good thing that Oklahoma does return their quarterback, their offensive coordinator, their main coordinators and staff, things like that, especially offensive line. You've got a lot of returners, and I think you retained most of your starters on the defensive side of the ball that didn't, get drafted. So, anyways, I think the logical next step, to your point, is winning a playoff game, competing for the SEC. Sure, I think it's possible that this team could be better than last year's team, but may not have a 10-win record, right? Keep in mind, had the Lou Groza Award winner last year, hit a bunch of 50-yarders. I think has the record for the longest field goal at Tennessee.
The shortest shorts.
Yeah, and wears shorts. So I think with, Oklahoma had some luck last year. It's not exactly the best luck to have your quarterback break his thumb in the middle of the season, but they did have some other things that went their way, just like many teams did, I'm sure. But, with that being said, if there was ever a team that was like a 9-win team that could make the playoff, Oklahoma with this schedule might be the one. So I think Oklahoma still eyes on the prize with the playoff. And again, like you said, you got year 2 of Arbuckle. You got year 2 of Mateer. I just don't think I don't think the defense will fall off to any degree with Brent Venables at the helm. We've never seen that when he was at Clemson as defensive coordinator. I think once he got going, I don't think they were anything worse than like the 4th best defense in the entire country. So consistency in that system and that scheme, that's going to be good. It all comes down to the offense, right? Comes down to, Mateer being better than last year. I think he can be, right? The running game being better than last year. I think it's got to be, right? It just makes sense. You've got a proven running back coach with a stable of running backs behind an improved offensive line, right? You've got a tight end room that's going to help with that. You've got wide receivers that you brought in Trell Harris, who was a all SEC, all ACC wide receiver, and then Parker Livingston, who was a big play guy for Texas, especially early in the season. And then Isaiah Satania, who was all SEC, who I believe finished 2nd in the conference for receiving yards. So you've got guys, you've recruited extremely well. So I think they take the step forward on offense. It's just going to come down to, can you execute, in the 4th quarter? They proved they could last year. We'll see how they do this year.
I think that's a good point. If you have to put a floor on it there, then Travis, and this will kind of wrap us up. Obviously there's an expectation to kind of be where you were last year. And like you said, if it's a 9-win team, we're going to have to see things fall correctly, but there's been conversation year after year since we went to 12 teams in the playoff that a 9-win SEC team could make it in. We just haven't had the scenario with the rest of the country, Notre Dame specifically, who is supposed to be good once again this year, is kind of a bid stealer. And then you kind of see what happened in the ACC last year. Does one of these leagues, the Big 12, get 2 in where we wouldn't normally see that happen? And then eventually we're not going to be at 12 teams anymore, and we're definitely going to see a 9-win SEC team in at that point. However, on the flip side, what is the minimum requirement for this team if you say this is kind of the floor of what is tolerated in Norman in 2026, given, it is a difficult schedule, but also given what you have on the roster, as you've highlighted?
Yeah, well, and I think as we talk about the schedule, it's opportunity, right? There are a lot of teams that could lose early and they don't have an opportunity to impress the committee after that, right? You may be drawing dead if you lose a couple games early. If Oklahoma were to, I mentioned the 3 tough games in the first 5. If Oklahoma were to lose like at Michigan and at Georgia, like a lot of teams might not have other opportunities. Well, Oklahoma still has Texas that's probably going to be ranked top 5. They're going to go at Florida. Who knows what they're like with the new regime there. You've got Ole Miss under Pete Golding, but they've got Trinidad Chambliss back. Elko's got A&M moving in the right direction. Missouri, kind of their on and off year. This would theoretically be an on year after they dealt with such injuries last year. So, you look at Kentucky's new staff. You look at Levy getting going at Mississippi State a little bit more, that he's guys a little bit more time. I think that making the playoff should always be the expectation at Oklahoma, because that means you're competing for a national championship. And I think that's where Oklahoma's expectation should lie this year. Every year moving forward with Brent Venables at the helm, you've got all the excuses out of the way. Oh, Lincoln took all the quarterbacks. Oh, we had, new coordinators. Oh, BV's learning to be a head coach for the first time. Oh, we had crazy injuries on the offensive line and wide receiver and this, that, and the other. All of that is, real, but it's over with, right? Mm-hmm. It is past that. You should have your foundation now. Nagy's in year 2 as well. That's something else. Your GM's in year 2. So your scouting and everything like that is going to be much, much better than it's been. So I just, I think competing for a national championship, also known as making the playoff, should be the expectation every year while Brent Venables remains the head coach at Oklahoma.
There you have it. Travis Davidson here with us to break it down as we preview the Oklahoma Sooners. Travis, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. I appreciate your time.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate you being flexible. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We'll see you. All right. Now it is time, Craig, for us to pick the Oklahoma schedule. He's right. There are some tough ones on here. I know that you've probably gone through and already selected it. I'll work our way through here. Per usual, now that we have gone through over half of the league in our predictions, some of these games are predetermined. So I'll try to hit those and let us focus on the ones we haven't talked about. In addition, let me just take an aside here and say I apologize to those of you who are watching us live right now that you can't see my beautiful face and chiseled jawline as well as you could through the rest of the show. I've been on the air for far too long, and my light has died. So that puts me a little bit in the dark. But just if you're listening, just imagine what you're looking at here. All right.
Turn out the lights.
We're starting to stop it. You've already sung one time tonight. That's your quota. Start with UTEP. We're both going to give them a win there. I'm not even going to ask the question. Then they go to Michigan, Craig. There is obviously a new regime in up there at the Big House. That's close to your territory, so I may let you speak on it a little more. But I'm going to, even though I think that Michigan could be surprising this year, I'm going to give the nod to OU.
So I am going OU as well. Michigan made some news in the spring game. They've benched their $12 million quarterback for young. It's not CJ Carr. So the next, whatever the other car that went to Michigan is. This is why it's not Big Ten Sunday night. But he has been named the starter. I love everything that BV does defensively. Michigan is still going to be a run-first team, so I kind of expect this to be another low-scoring game. But I think OU gets a nice big win to start the season.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm going to have them starting 3-0, which I imagine you do as well with New Mexico there in Week 3. Yep. Then they're going to go see your Dogs in Week 4, and I think this is a game where being in Athens makes a difference, and I'm going to take Georgia.
This is a blackout.
I can only imagine who you're going to take.
Yeah, this is a blackout. This is a 6:30 Central kick. This is no Jefferson Pilot 12:45. I think this is a shootout, though. I think at the 2018 Rose Bowl should be a high-scoring affair. I like my Dogs coming out on top, though.
Okay. Then they have a bye week, and then they have Texas in Red River, and I think
are we going to that this year?
Sure. I will. Travis is still backstage. Travis, send us a message if you can hook us up with recommendations, tickets,
split an Airbnb,
places to stay, eat, all those things. What should we get at the fair? The whole nine, right? But yeah, I think this can go either way. This is a coin flip. For me, it's a coin flip every year. This is the point, Travis, where you need to like mute us or plug your ears or something. I'm going to take Texas as we sit here today. That's a little bit of a preview of what we're going to do. Looking at Texas here in the next couple of weeks. But I do have questions. I have questions, as I said before, about the balance of how the run game is distributed with the running backs. And I will happily be proven wrong if that's the case, but I'm going to have to see it before I step out and make that statement. So I think that maybe leaning on Mateer a little bit much gets them in this one.
To me, this is another big time shootout. Hard for me to pick against Arch and the Fried Butter and Big Tex. Give me Hook'em.
Okay. So we have them dropping a couple in a row there.
Yep.
Now, we've already picked schedules for Kentucky, Mississippi State, South Carolina, and Florida. I have Oklahoma 4-0 in that stretch. Let me flip to your sheet.
I'm 3-1.
You have them losing at Florida. Okay.
I am losing at Florida, so I'm going to be honest. Like, as we're going through this, like that Florida game is one that I have questions on. You know, like what is that going to what is that going to look like? Again, I've been big on John Summerall, but again, to me, this is where this was a cold take. If that quarterback situation is not solved in Gatorland, then I like BV and Mateer to go and win one in the swamp.
Okay. So then we have the Ole Miss game, and this is a stretch here with three, I think, on the back end of this schedule that is just deadly for Oklahoma. Okay, absolutely deadly. I have them losing the game to Ole Miss because when in doubt, I'm going to take Chambliss. There are a lot of questions here, Craig, and we have not covered Ole Miss yet in this series, so we haven't gotten a chance to break them down. I look forward to doing that here with you in a few weeks. They are towards the end of this because of how they finished in the SEC last year, so it'll be a little bit before we get there. But man, I have question marks a lot about how this staff is going to handle that team, more so than I do the personnel. We kind of know some of the major pieces that are there, but there are definitely some new voices and faces in that group. So as of today, I'm going to take Ole Miss, but that one flexes a little bit for me. What do you think?
I am going to say that Mateer and BV get their revenge, and because this one, I believe this one is in Norman. I thought.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, in Norman. For some reason, I thought last year's was in Norman. I don't know. That one gave me pause, but no, I've got Oklahoma going to Oxford and winning this one.
No, if you typed it incorrectly, all three of these last three are in Norman. Travis, nod if we're correct. Okay, yeah, we are. Okay, perfect.
All right.
So
for whatever reason that Ole Miss one just gave me pause. I don't know what the heck that was.
All right, A&M's next, and I'll just come out and say it right off the rip. I think Oklahoma wins this game. This is the one we say it every week. I feel like every team we've picked already has A&M on the schedule, which can't be true. But every time they come up, this is where I have the most questions. And it's funny, we had the message board earlier where the message board poster, for those of you who may just now be joining the show, said that Ryan Day and Mike Elko are carrying the torch after Saban left in terms of developing NFL talent. I'm still laughing at it. I'm not sure that I believe in that A&M team up against a more formidable schedule than what they had last year. They're not going to catch every break that they caught last year. So I've got Oklahoma winning this game. Go ahead, Craig.
I have A&M winning this one. I went back and forth on this one. Again, I think that's right. They're right in the middle of it.
You hypocrite.
I know. I am. I'm terrible. I get it. I'm awful. I'm the worst. I know I am, but yeah, I've got A&M.
We're gonna dog A&M and have them 10-2 when we get to them in a few weeks.
I will.
All right. The last game, we've already picked this because
I flipped my pick.
See, because we've already picked Missouri. And for those of you who have not been with us week in and week out, Missouri is my sleeper team of the year. I'm really high on Austin Simmons with Eli Drinkwitz, so I have
Maggie is paying him.
I have Mizzou actually pulling off the upset here because I think they're gonna be sneaky good. You have Oklahoma winning the game. Talk to me.
I don't know. I'm maybe it's me because I know Travis in the background there. He may be sending us messages and being like, "What are you guys doing?" When I looked at it, I originally had Oklahoma at 7-5. I did not feel great about a 7-5. I think it speaks to the difficulty of their schedule. And again, I did have the Mizzou initially a loss because it's in Norman. I think they take care of business.
So I'm gonna say two things here. We both have them at 8-4.
Yep.
I think they can easily be 10-2. But things have to break their way, as Travis just said, with the difficulty of the schedule. 9-3, I think, also puts them in that playoff discussion, kind of in that round robin that we had with Alabama, Ole Miss, South Carolina a few years ago with all those 9-3 teams. The other thing that I'll say is he was completely on it in that this all depends on John Mateer and this offense.
Yes.
How does the running game pick up? What's the protection? And one thing that we haven't mentioned, Craig, is what's the decision-making process in John Mateer's head? Because I think that at times he can get a little turnover prone, and he's a gunslinger. He's a Brett Favre-ish.
Yep.
So we'll see. We'll just see. There's a lot of question marks there. If the magic is there, they can go. They're 10-2 and they're back in the playoff.
I think 10-2. Like, so I think you could say toss-up games for me at least. Texas A&M is right there.
Yeah.
Florida for sure. I think the Texas game. I think it's going to be tough to beat Georgia in Athens. That is really hard to do. I don't think that's going to happen. But those other three, again, Texas.
Well, and the other thing is, we both picked them to beat Michigan, but that one's a toss-up too. We don't really know what Michigan's going to have, and that game is at Michigan, so
at 11 a.m. probably.
So you know what I mean. Like there's a lot of games on here for them. There's not a lot of bona fide wins and bona fide losses. It's a lot of what are you going to do. Travis said it that you got to execute. Okay.
Yep.
All right, this has been SEC Sunday Night presented by Hewitt Damaduras Law, hdlawsc.com. Shout out to our boy Travis Davidson for coming on to talk Sooners. Shout out, as always, to Casey Cregan, to MBG, to Freezing Cold Takes. I'm Rob Williams. He's Craig McMichael, and we will see you next